What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, we got to talk about a gigantic rumor, and this comes from Kotaku. Every now and then, they still have a little journalism left in them, and they talk about that there's an Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake in the works, and one of the studios that's going to be working on this, or maybe even the lead studio, is Ubisoft Singapore, and if that sounds familiar, it's because they're the ones that are doing Skull and Bones. Now, I have a couple things to say about it. Number one, I am okay with this game getting remade. Not that it really matters what I think, but I just kind of want to throw it out there. However, and I've talked about this in past videos, I would greatly prefer Assassin's Creed 1. I think Assassin's Creed 1 would be an amazing candidate, not just for Assassin's Creed, but when I think of games that could use a remake that could help the franchise, or that would sell really well, or it's been enough years that it really could use one, I always think to Assassin's Creed. It's one of the first games that comes to my head. So I really want that. I know there's people talking about like the Ezio collection and just really starting 1, then 2 Brotherhood Revelations. I think that makes sense. I will say, I think this is probably a good sign for that. You could be saying, why would you start a Black Flag? Well, I actually have an answer for that I feel like is the right answer. But just by doing this alone means, okay, well, they're willing to go back to Assassin's Creed games to remake them. It is a rumor, so, take it with a grain of salt. However, I will say, again, actually, to give Kotaku a little bit of compliments, when they do these, and they don't do them all that often, but when they do, they are pretty right. They often get these reports right. So I do think this is actually real. They talk about how it's still years away, that it's probably like an early development. They were considering doing it while working on Skull and Bones. So you're probably going to have to wait 2-3 years, until this game comes out. That's fine. I have no issue with that. Here's why I think they're doing Black Flag. I think Ubisoft is trying to save the studio. Now, whoever's fault it is, you could blame the studio, you could blame the higher-ups for Skull and Bones, right? If we're thinking, why is Skull and Bones in the state that is? You can do a lot of finger-pointing, I'm sure. The sad thing is we don't really know fully, confirmed, who to blame, right? The specific people. Is it the workers? Is it the ones who told them to do it? Who is it? But I have a feeling that because Skull and Bones is obviously so up and down, and they probably imagine the game is not going to make a lot of money. Remember, they're really doing this just for the Singapore government because they literally have to. They either gave them funding or tax reasoning or whatever, but there's like a contract that says they must make this game. So that's exactly what they're going to do. I have a feeling it's them saying, okay, what can we tap into the studio at all? Can we have them make us some money? Which is not that unfair, to be all that honest with you. And they could say, all right, well, you did ship stuff in Skull and Bones. You did it because of Black Flag. This is really the spiritual successor without 90% of Black Flag. Do you think you could go back to that game, which your game is kind of, a successor to, and could you remake that? That is, to me, that is why they picked Black Flag, because they're so used to the ship stuff, which is such a big part to Black Flag. And what's going to happen now, though, is Black Flag is going to make Skull and Bones look even worse in just a few. So if Skull and Bones does come out this year or comes out next year, already it's got so many negative opinions on it. Already it's the shell of what's so good in Black Flag. And then a year or two later, you're going to do a Black Flag remake by them. And, it's the same studio. And you're going to just kind of show, oh, Skull and Bones wasn't all that great. So it is an odd choice in some degree. It's also a pretty obvious choice, I would say, in other ways. So I'm looking forward to it. I actually feel kind of confident that they can do it, whether it's them doing the entire thing or they're doing most of it. They talk about that, it's their speciality, right? Doing the sailing and the water and all that stuff. And let me tell you, you know how much of a sucker I am for water. So Black Flag better have the best looking water we've ever seen. In fact, the original Black Flag still has some very, very good water and some very good water physics and how it moves and storms and stuff. So really, if you just kept it the same, it would still be kind of good. But if you're going to enhance it, I think that would obviously be much better. So let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.